Shalom Aleichem to everybody. It's summertime, officially. Kids are out of school, and camps are beginning, not beginning, might be beginning. We've been quarantined, we've been home for a very long time, and those of us blessed with children certainly are feeling the intensity of the last month. And I know in our home, there's a great debate. What was better, when there was school and there was a program, there were Zoom classes, or now when it's a little bit even more hefker? I like to try to address summertime, how this summer might be different than many summers, and try to put the perspective of the experience that we've had the last few months with the coronavirus as we move into the summer months, headed toward Elul, Tishrei, Yom Norai. At the end of Parshas Korach, after the Magefa, the plague, and after Korach and his company had been swallowed up by the earth, Kadosh Baruch Hu gives a test through Moshe that whichever staff of the 12 which are placed into the Ohel HaMoed, into the holy tent of assembly, whichever one of the 12 staffs are going to blossom, bud, flower, and turn to Shkedim Amin, that will be the individual who will be coronated, sanctified as the leader of the Jewish people, and it will become an opportunity for the atonement of Klal Yisrael after the episode of Korach ve'Hadassah. And indeed, Moshe Rabbeinu returns to the Ohel Moed, and the pasuk tells us, "Vayetze Moshe es kol hamatos b'lefnei Hashem, vayiru vayikchu ishmateu." Everybody took out their staff, and Moshe takes out the staff, and what does he see? Parach mata Aaron. Aaron's staff has blossomed. Vayetze Parach, Vayetze Tzitz, Vayikmol Shkedim, and it's Aaron's staff for Shevet Levi, which has blossomed, bud, and Shkedim Amid's come out. And the Torah continues and tells us, this is what you're going to do with this staff. Hashev es mate Aaron lefnei Edu, says God to Moshe, place Aaron's staff back into the Aron HaEdus. Limishmeres, it will serve as a testimony forever, and it will always remain there. And as the Gemara says, Mesechas Yuma Daf Nun Beis, that staff continued, stayed, blossomed with the Shkedim on it through Churban Bayis Rishon up until that point. The miracle, the events of this staff that it blossomed, that it stayed with its buds and its flowers and its Shkedim and the almonds remained from that moment for eternity, up until Beis HaMikdash HaRishon, alongside with the man inside of the Aron Kodesh. L'mishmeres. And the question is, why this staff? And why Aaron's staff, which blossomed, was it the one that remained inside of the Aron Kodesh forever? Aaron HaKohen had another staff. He had the staff which turned blood to water to blood. He had another staff which created that Tzfardeh, the first of the two Makos, Aaron HaKohen himself executed through his staff. Shouldn't that be the staff that remains L'mishmeres? Why is Aaron's staff here specifically greater, more miraculous than the staff from Parshas Bo, the water that turned to blood, and the Makkah of Tzfardeh? And more than that, we know Aaron, even before the first two Makos, turned to Paro, and his staff was used to turn to a tanim, to a snake. So Aaron had a very miraculous staff back in Parshas Shmos, Va'era and Bo, that was used to do incredibly amazing miracles. Why was that staff not chosen to be the staff to be placed in the Aron HaKodesh, in the Ohel HaMeidus, in the Mishkan, for eternity, for perpetuity, through Bayis Rishon? Why this staff? Why is it the staff of Parach, Mate, Aaron? The staff of Aaron that blossoms, that is the staff that remains in the Mishkan, in the Beis HaMikdash, through Bayis Rishon. I don't recall where I heard or saw the following suggestion to answer this question. You know, there are two ways to educate. You can educate through punishment, through discipline, and you can educate through love. Punishment and discipline is quicker. It will allow the action to be stymied and to be crushed quicker, and will fast acting. However, punishment and discipline don't always have long-term goals, and the actions themselves, who knows what will occur from them. Love, on the other hand, through a child, toward a student, that's something that you're not going to see results from immediately. But there's no question that Ava, that love, is something that's going to remain forever implanted, embossed upon the heart, the soul of the individual who you are sharing your love with. The staff of Aaron from Parshas Shmos Va'erim Bo was the staff of punishment. It was the staff that turned into a tanin, into a snake. It was the staff that turned water to blood. It was the staff that created Sardeim. It was the staff of punishment and meted out punishment to the Mitzrayim, to the Egyptians. That's what that staff was. It reminded the people of punishment, of the dangerous, difficult, harrowing times in Mitzrayim. The staff of this week's Parsha, of Parshas Korach, was the staff of love. It was the staff of peace. It was a staff that would bring the people back together, would show the world that Aaron HaKohen is the leader, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu was choosing him. No longer will there be any discord or division amongst Klal Yisrael. Korach v'Hadassah are finished. The plague has come to an end. Klal Yisrael needs leadership, and a leader who's going to lead with love. That's what this matter represented. Aaron was the Ohev Shalom, Rodeh Shalom, the man who loved peace and ran after peace. And here's the beginning where it all started. And thus, Limishmeres, when you want something to last forever, and you want to place something into the Mishkan, into the Aron, that's going to remind the Jewish people and stick with them forever, it's got to be this matter. It must be this staff, because it's a staff of love. Love is something that remains forever. It's going to teach the people. It's going to serve as an antidote for the pain and the suffering that they've had throughout the Dor HaMidbar. And that's going to be the ultimate education. Love is such a powerful tool in terms of education for a parent, for a teacher, for whatever relationship it may be. And thus this is chosen, this matter is chosen, the Shmeres, forever and forever, as opposed to the matter earlier in Sefer Shmos. Not only did Aaron appreciate the power of love, but his brother Moshe Rabbeinu did as well. If you turn back to Sefer Shmos and Parshas Bo, you remember the seventh Makkah, the Makkah of Bara, hail. And it was hailing, and it was going to hail viciously. And as soon as the hail came down, Paro turns to Moshe and says, Hashem atzadik, v'ani v'ami harashoim, God is righteous, me and my people have sinned. And the Rishonim and the Mefarshim in that pasuk question, why did it take till the seventh Makkah, the seventh plague, for Paro to say, God is righteous, he's a tzaddik, and we have sinned? Dam, Tzvardeya, Kinim, Arov, Dever, Shchin, those weren't enough to teach Paro a lesson? And what about the 8th, the 9th, and the 10th Makkah? Arbe, Choshech, Makkos, Bechors. Those Makkos, Paro never explained. Hashem HaTzadik, God is righteous, V'ami Harasham, and me and my people are sinners. Why now? What happened in Makkah's Bara, this plague specifically of hail, that all of a sudden Paro exclaims and screams, God is righteous, we have sinned? If you take a look in the commentary, the Daskenim, the Balitosos, they say, look back to the 6th Makkah. And in the 6th Makkah, right before God executes through Moshe the plague of hail, Moshe warns Paro. And he tells Paro, listen, Paro, shlach ha'ez es hamiknecha. I'm telling you, there's going to be a plague that's coming. I'm warning you. I care about you. Bring your flock inside. Because if not, if you're not going to do that, there's going to be this hail, there's going to be this barad, and they're going to die. Bring your flocks, bring your cattle, bring them inside. The plague of hail is coming. I care about you. I'm looking out for you. I want you to be safe. I want your mikneh. I want your cattle to be taken care of. Aha, says Paro. You care about me, Moshe? You love me? You're not just here to mete out punishment. Dam, Svardei, Akinim, Barod, Ever, Shchin. That's not what you're here for? You really love me? You care about me? Now I understand. Now I can appreciate. Now I can have a conversation. Now I'm ready to look out of myself. And now Paro is prepared to say, Hashem HaTzadik, V'ani V'ami HaRashayim. The punishment, the suffering, the pain, the death, the trials and the tribulations that Paro suffers through Dam all the way through the 6th Makkah, don't teach him a thing. No discipline, no punishment, it doesn't work. Love, Ava. That's what it takes. Moshe Rabbeinu says to him, I'm telling you, Paro, do me a favor. God is coming on the attack. Bring your cattle inside. All of a sudden, Paro turns his tune. And he changes the song that he's been singing. And the story changes because Paro says, I hear a different tune here. I understand Moshe cares about me. I understand that he loves me. And therefore, Paro explains, responds with a different response than he's responded thus far. But where did Moshe and Aaron understand? And where did they develop this understanding and reasoning that punishment isn't going to be what it's going to take to teach the people, but it's through love? Again, we go back to Parshas Shmos. Who was Moshe and Aaron's sister and brother? Yocheved and Miriam. Yocheved is their mother, Miriam is their sister. And how does the Torah refer to them? In Parshas Shmos says with Matisyahu Solomon, Shifra and Pua. And as Rashi quotes, Shifra mishaferes as avlad. She cared, she looked after the child Moshe, little baby Moshe, in his basket, in the wicker basket, in the pond, in the river, in the Nile. And Yocheved was Shifra and Pua. Yocheved and Miriam, she would say, poo, 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 looking after the baby, loving the baby like a sweet mother does, poo, 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 taking care. And thus, from their early days specifically, Moshe was the recipient of enormous love, tremendous doting over him, caring for him. And they recognized from that early age the power of Ava that the mother gave them was so instrumental and so formed and shaped them that it had such an impact on who they were as people because their mother showered them with such intense and incredible love. Shifra and Pua, poo, poo, poo. And that love was so palpable, so meaningful, and so life-altering that Moshe and Aaron as leaders understood that the way that they could be most effective and execute the missions that they were supposed to in this world with warring nations, with their own people, was through Ava. Dr. Rothschild, who was the well-known director of Mayane HaYeshua Hospital in Bnei Brak, once commented that already you could see a formidable difference in a child in the first few days of life. A mother who cuddles, kisses, hugs the new baby is going to be much, much different. And is going to be much stronger, much more capable, and much more valued if he receives or she receives that love in the early days after childbirth. And there's no question in the sciences today that many have shown that this is true as well. Giving a child love early on, from the early years, is such a powerful force to allow a child, a student, to develop, to grow, and to be able to succeed in this world. Rav Shlomo Volbe, in his Sefer Al Yeshur, and I quote, writes the following thing. Chelak Aleph, page 190. Who knows which is more beneficial for a child's health and development? The food he eats or the warmth he has shown? Warmth and affection means so much more to children than just pleasure. These factors are absolutely necessary for their healthy, emotional development. And it is known that it is impossible for a child who has been raised without any warmth to be healthy emotionally. Ava, love, distributing it, dispensing it, giving, showering, showing love to others is such a powerful tool within our arsenal. That was Moshe's success with Paro, and that's God's instruction to Moshe to keep Aaron's staff, the staff of love, Perach Mate Aaron, the man of love, in the Mishkan, in the Beis HaMikdash, through Bayis Rishon, because that's what's going to stick with the people, not the staff of punishment. I'll share with you two stories. Dr. David Pelkowitz, the well-known psychiatrist, recounts that he met an individual who survived through the war of the Holocaust. I believe his name was Mr. Freilich, or Rabbi Freilich, who lived in the Queens section of New York, who shared the following anecdote with Dr. Pelkowitz. Said that he went through the horrors of the war, the pain, the tribulations, the difficulties. But there was one event that allowed him to be the person who he is today. He went to the yeshiva of the great Eish Kodesh, the Piazetzner Rebbe, And the Piazetzner Rebbe gave shiurim and fiery discourses, drushos and shiurim, when he was a man of incredible genius and intensity, and was a man with incredible warmth. And he said that after the war and the Holocaust, the camps and the DP camps, and all the suffering, and he made it to this country, he didn't know if he was being able to continue, and certainly wasn't sure if he would be able to continue as a firm Jew. But a memory remained behind in his heart and implanted on his brain. The Piazetzner Rebbe once took a blanket, and he noticed that this man, Mr. Rabbi Freilich, was cold and uncomfortable. He took the blanket and he covered him with it. He tucked him in one evening. And that warmth and that love that the Piazetzner Rebbe showed this Rabbi Freilich allowed him to continue his life's journey forever. You could verify this story with Dr. Pelkowitz, with this Rabbi Freilich's son. It's a fact that love is something that remains behind, is something that will stick with us forever. It's embossed, engraved in our hearts and our minds and implanted within us. That allowed the individual to continue with his life. Finish with a final story. There was a young counselor in camp who was ready to greet the campers who were going to come the next day. But this counselor said that the head counselor called in all of the counselors the day before the children arrived to share with them one very powerful message. And what was that message? The head counselor got up and said, "We've been training for days. We've been preparing for camp. The day has come. The children are going to arrive tomorrow. You're going to see the boys. They're going to be slapping five, high-fiving, patting each other on the back, getting into the bunk, getting ready to play ball, hanging out, talking. But I'm telling you, there's going to be one kid in every bunk that's going to be left out. That's going to be sad. That's not going to feel part of it. Go over to that child. Put your arm around him, take him outside to the canteen, and buy him a Danish." That was the advice that the head counselor gave all of the counselors, and he spoke very passionately about it. The next day comes, the kids get off the bus, they go into the bunk, they're happy, they're excited, high fives, ready to go out to play. And there's one boy in the bunk who this counselor notices is feeling very melancholy and sad. And the counselor goes over to him and says, "Hey, how you doing? Come with me." He takes him to the canteen, he buys him a Danish, he spends time with him, and the kid all of a sudden begins to show some signs of life and slowly begins to feel more comfortable. And the counselor feels so good about himself, he runs to the head counselor, tells the head counselor what happened. And the head counselor tells him, "Great job." And the counselor asks the head counselor, "Why are you so passionate about this? Why did you speak so strongly about this?" And the head counselor told him, "I was that boy 30 years ago. I was down. I was melancholy. I wasn't feeling good at camp. My counselor came over to me and he took me out to the canteen. He bought me a Danish. It changed my whole summer." I said, "Really? Wow. What's the name of your counselor who did that?" And the head counselor told him the name of his counselor who did that, a Mr. Eichenberg. And he took down the name. And he decided that he's going to look up this man in the phone book, give him a call, and find out this story. And this young boy, the counselor, gets a hold of this man. He calls him on the phone and says, "I got to tell you a story. I took my camper out, bought him a Danish, made him so happy. I told my head counselor. The head counselor said it happened to me, and you were the counselor who did it to him." I said, "Yeah, it's true, but let me tell you a story. 20 years earlier, I was that camper, and I was down. And the day came that a man came over to me and he took me to the canteen because I wasn't feeling good. Bought me a Danish. And you know what his name was? Rav Shmuel Kamenetsky, the great Gadol B'Yisrael, the Rosh Yeshiva in Philadelphia. And because of what Rav Shmuel did some 50, 60 years ago, left behind the mark on that counselor, and that counselor, and that counselor, and that counselor, and this young boy. This story is told over by Rabbi Yechiel Spiro, and he mentioned that in trying to research and get to the bottom of the story, he asked some of Rabbi Kamenetsky's students if they were familiar with it, and one or two of them laughed and said, "Do you know how many Danishes Rabbi Kamenetsky has bought for his students in his life?" That's love. That's ahava. That's caring about others. And the long-lasting impact of it goes and remains behind forever and is etched on the memory of so many people. That's Korach Mate Aaron. That's Moshe's action. And that's what we can do this summer. Summertime is an opportunity to discipline in a different way. Maybe, hopefully, be calmer, quieter, slower, more peaceful. The run, the quickness, hopefully should die down a little bit. And we have the opportunity to discipline with love, with ava, with chen, v'chesed, v'rachamim. There's no immediate actions that need to take place. It takes extra effort and extra energy because discipline and punishment, those things reach and reap results quick. Because if you tell a child, stop doing that or else, or if a teacher says to a student, get out of the room, the action comes to a conclusion. But where is the long-term success of that going to be? Did I teach anything? Ava, you can't see it right away, but you take your child and you give a hug, and you go over to your son or to your daughter, and you hug them, and you say, I'm not sure if that was the right thing to do or not. And slowly, slowly, it has such a deep impact over time, over days, weeks, and years. We don't know how far-reaching it could be. May we all have the strength, the fortitude, the power to be able to have the Korach to teach our students, our teachers, and in any relationship, friends and family, colleagues, boss and employer-employee relationships, wherever it is. Use the methodology of love because that's what remains behind. Limishmeres, as a long-standing testimony. It stays in the Mishkan and the Mikdash, and it stays etched in the minds and the hearts of every single person forever and ever. Wishing you a wonderful Shabbos.